Hello everyone and welcome back to the Little Quilter. Today we are going to be finishing up the Pantograph background on the Legendary Quilt here. And I have tried a couple of different things and I've got a couple of other tips that if you're wanting to try this, things that you need to know. So, if you guys watched the first video of the Legendary Quilt, what I'm doing here is just quilting the background using a pantograph. A couple of things that I wanted to try was how to attach the pin easier to my quilting machine right here. And so I have a new setup. I'll put a picture of it up there. And basically what I found is that I did a first pass with this and then I decided that why am I making it so difficult to attach the pin? I should just, strap it on there and not use anything to hold it out, because the little Magna-Glide things that I've been using to sort of stick the pin out were coming off. And so I thought, well, that'll be fine. So I just put it on there and followed the same line, did everything the same. And what I found was, not unsurprisingly after I thought about it, but once you start the pantograph, you need to keep the pin where it's at. So whatever distance or however you've set it on there, that distance needs to stay the same. And the reason for that is much like when you're setting up the pantograph, you want everything, all of the settings to stay the same so that as you move the quilt up, you end up with a consistent spacing for your pantograph, okay? So what that told me was I was kind of limited with how I had put my pin on. So I decided to look for other options to attach. I found these on Amazon, thinking that the little circles here would be great to just slide the pin in, or even slide these up onto the quilting machine. But these were a complete fail. So basically that clip part that you can see right there, it's just too small. It's too small and it's too narrow to do anything with. I can't get it to go onto the quilt, so these are a fail. Don't purchase these. Now, what I did find was these little guys right here. So these are 3M white pin board clips, and they come in two different sizes. So this smaller size and then this larger size right here. What I have done is basically attach these, okay? So you've got your 3M, the big one, and I just pulled the strip off and then put two of these little ones onto it so that you end up with a pretty decent clip. Now, what I found was, just like I was talking about, this distance that I have to maintain that. So I did end up keeping a little blue guy down here and the rubber band here as well. Now, what I found with this was, unfortunately, this is still not stable enough, so I do have to wrap some painter's tape, and I just do some painter's tape around it. Basically, this keeps the pin from, instead of staying up straight and down, from moving like this, right, as I'm moving it across the quilt, because otherwise what will happen is you'll move it, it'll hit a seam, and it's going to flop to one side or the other. So you do have to keep it situated so that it doesn't move. The other thing that I would recommend is making sure that you keep more than one pin on hand. So the first pin that I started with actually did start to die, and the ink was really hard to see on the fabric, so I did have to swap my pin out. This was another reason why I tried to just simply attach it without doing too much to it, and found that that didn't work, was because I had to change pins. So the big things to take note are, however you set your pin up and the distance that you set it up between where your needle sits and where your pin is needs to stay pretty consistent to allow that pantograph to look good. And I would definitely recommend, in lieu of not having anything else really to recommend, these little clips to attach to it. I do wonder on the next one if I can take that blue one out, and maybe if it's actually a little bit more clipped on, maybe it would be more steady, but I think I'm still going to have something to wrap around it to keep it intact. But overall, I've been very happy with this. the last thing that I'm going to say is I have also been happy with doing the entire Pantograph, and now I'm going to go back through once I finish this and do the trees, and I've been happy with the blue erase marker and using this. This is not just water. I looked up Natalia Bonner's way, which is adding baking soda to her water, and she has a video with that. I'll see if I can link it, that basically tells you how to mix this up so that it really works very well to get that blue out. And I haven't had any of those stubborn lines. I still haven't left them for a really long time, so I've not like left, haven't done multiple rows with the marker and then came back and quilted it and then tried to take it off. So I pretty much draw it, quilt that line, draw it, quilt the line. But I have found this has been easier to take those stubborn markers out, and I've been really happy with that mixture. So definitely check that out if you're having any trouble, or if you're even thinking of using a blue water-soluble marker on your quilts. Okay guys, the background is totally done, which means the next part we'll be able to get into the trees, which I'm so excited about. But that last part was quite a bit of work. So I think I've gone through a total of 3 pins, and I think I figured out why my pins were starting to run out of ink, and basically they weren't really running out of ink. Well, one truly did run out of ink, but I think it was helped along with the fact that when I did a row, I would then immediately erase with the water solution mix, and the problem with that is when you spray that, you would get like a little bit of overspray into the next area that I was gonna quilt. And so then, by the time that I had rolled it up, moved it, all of those things, it had not really dried. And so my pin would get lighter, and basically I was watering out my water-soluble pin. So just beware of that either A, you're gonna have to wait to spray it down, or B, you might want to wait and sort of spray after in like a concentrated way or something. I'm not sure exactly. I'll have to see, At this point, I'm done with my pantograph quilting for this one. I don't know when I'm going to do this design style again. I really, really loved it, and I love the way that it's turned out, especially for this quilt with the feet. I think it's just the perfect background for a legendary quilt with Sasquatch on it, and now I'm so excited to be able to go in and have that fine detail of all the trees looking different. So that's going to be the next thing that we're going to be doing, but I just wanted to let you guys know how this ended up and a few of the other little hitches along the way of things that you might want to take note of. So basically, just to recap, keep your pin the same distance however you set it up. Try and make it the simplest setup. I definitely will link these down below. So these are the little clips that I stuck together. The blue is from it actually rubbing on the pin, not the blue ink coming off of it there. So these clips, I feel like they at least kept it kind of steady. I still had to use painter's tape to wrap around it to keep it basically from, you know, moving forward and backward as I moved the quilt and it pop it off. But it's not perfect, but I think this is at least a little bit easier to pop onto your quilt than it is to like super glue stuff to your pin, especially if it's going to run out of ink. Also, I've had those markers. Don't like blame the markers. I've had them for a long time, like at least over a year or two. So they may just be getting old as well. Maybe if I got some new ones, it wouldn't be as bad. So, all right, I'm going to let you guys have a final look at the quilt here, and just so excited to have this part done, and I hope that you guys enjoyed the video. I know it's a bit of a recap of what we've been doing, but, you know, letting you know what I'm doing here. Y'all have a great day, okay? Thanks. Bye.